Hey, welcome back to Stark Reality Garage. I've got the Jeep in the garage, hood's up as you can see. It's still a mess underneath there. But today I'm going to do hopefully a nice quick upgrade. I picked up these a little while back, some new fuel injectors. These are from a Ford Mustang from a 5.0, and they go right into the Jeep and will work just fine. And the reason why it's an upgrade is one, these are whatever 20 years newer, so a lot more tech, but these have 5 holes in the injector, and the ones that are in the Jeep originally, which these are original, have 1 hole. So the difference is you're squirting out fuel in just one single stream. This will shoot out the exact same amount of fuel, only it'll be in 5 streams, so it'll be atomized a lot better. So hopefully this will give me maybe a little bit more gas mileage, maybe, I hear. Hopefully a little smoother at idle, I've heard that as well. And lastly, maybe a little bit more power. We'll see. But considering they're original in there, I don't have any problems with them. They're running just fine. But I picked these up off Craigslist. Craigslist is your friend. I find so many good things on Craigslist. So I got these real inexpensively from somebody who picked up 8 to do theirs. And so I picked up the extra 4. And so we'll see how this goes. It's pretty straightforward to pull them out and put these in. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so I'll give you an idea of what we're looking at here. Here we're at the front of the engine. Here's one of the injectors right here, and they're in kind of pairs here, and 2 of them back there, right there. This is the fuel rail, so we got to dig our way down to the fuel rail. There's a few things here sitting on top of it. I don't think anything's going to be too difficult to get it pulled apart. Probably more of a pain that I haven't washed the engine bay yet, but it's just residual stuff. So we'll start pulling this apart. I'm not sure what I'm going to need to take off and what I'm not to get this done, but we'll get it done just the same. Hey, one quick thing, this right here is your fuel pressure release. So underneath that there's a little release valve like a tire stem. So that's one of the first things you got to do, take that off, release the pressure, and then just a little bit of fuel come out, and then we can start taking everything apart. Release the pressure. Not much there. A few nuts and bolts pulled off, and really it's kind of ready to go. These the little caps, they just flipped right off. They were actually not on as tight as I would have hoped. Now the big trick is you just got to yank these things out, and here as I can tell it's they're in there pretty snug. So we'll give it a good yank and get them out of there. All right, so they're out, and I did not disconnect the fuel line all the way. I can kind of get to these enough to get them off. There are these little clips on each side that you got to take off to get them out. Looks like I lost a seal there, so I'm gonna have to dig the seal out of that hole. Whoops. And yes, the fuel will keep pouring out if you don't tip it up. So here's the injector. Can see it or not, there's just one little hole in that versus the new ones that'll have 4, I think, or 5. But there it is, there's the old original. So we'll get that out, and so now we'll pull these and then just pop the new ones in. It's pretty straightforward. All right, so I've been pulling these off. I put the first 2 injectors on. A couple of the little rubber O-rings popped off, so I've been pulling those out. But the big surprise is it is filthy crudded up inside those seats for the injectors. And I think you can kind of see them. I touched that one with a screwdriver tip to see what was going on, and what a filthy mess. You can see some of it that came out there. And that's true for each of these. That one's really bad. So I'm gonna use a vacuum and maybe a screwdriver tip and see if I can't get that junk out of there without it going into the cylinders. The old injectors, crusted, dirty old things, and all the new ones are in. You know, you just got to wiggle them a little bit, get them in there, make sure you put your clips on. I'm not sure how much those clips really do. Some of them, like this one, seems to move a little easier than like this one on the end, but that one was really tight. But they should wiggle a little bit, so they're in there, seated okay. Then you can bolt them down. These are 13 millimeter little stud nut kind of things, and that holds it on. So once you get those on, that you know that that's pulled it in nice and snug. Now I can put the throttle cable back on and my intake, and we can see how we do. Now, one of the things you're going to really want to do is the first time you start it is to look at these injectors really closely, see if there's any leaks. I have had that before. You've got them all in there, you think you're good, start it up, you start getting just a little bit of leak coming out of there. That's a car fire ready to start. So you do want to check and make sure everything's sealed up, you don't have any drips. Alright, I just finished putting everything back together again. I flooded it the first time trying to get it started, so I had to let it air out a little bit. And, but now it's running just great, and it's all back together again. So I'm gonna move some cars around, take it for a little spin, see how she feels, and come back, give you a tie it up. All right, so I got the Jeep idling and behind me. I would say right now it's idling a little quieter, a little smoother than it was before, but you know, those are hard to judge. When I first took it out, it was a little bumpy, choppy, kind of rough, and then it, you know, within a block, kind of smoothed out. I don't know if the injector worked itself out, whatever, and now it's running really smooth. So it's really smooth. I don't know, gas mileage, you know, power, hard to say. Certainly not going to give you a whole bunch in a four banger, but I will say she's running smooth right now, and so seems like a plus for something that really, those injectors were 15 bucks. It's not like it's a big deal, and certainly increased the technology by a few decades, which is a good thing. So another success, and we'll see you next time.